for, buyer number 2 just automatically slides right in.
So that could all hurt. But as we want to discuss today, there is a way to help you as the seller make sure that your home is as presentable as possible and is worth as much as it can be. And that is a job. There's a guy who actually comes in and makes your house ready to go. What's that all about, Heidi?
Well, it's a paramount piece to listing your home because, we do have low inventory, but your home still has to be priced correctly. It has to present well. It has to be marketed well. So all those key components still come into play. And we know that most buyers are shopping online for properties. They find a few properties, they email those to their buyer's agent, and then those get scheduled. But if your property doesn't look so good online, they'll never even get to your front porch.
Mm-hmm. So the whole idea is to present your property as well as possible, and you bring in a pro who can help you do that.
Right. Well, and if you think about it, we've all been online looking at properties, whatever the property search site may be, and we see horrible pictures. So you see a lot of pictures where maybe you can't even see the room through all the toys, clutter, laundry piles on the furniture. Maybe the refrigerator's covered with magnets, things of that nature. Now, it seems like common sense that those would be the things that we would want to tidy up. And I'll go in, when I'm looking at a property, I'll go in and I'll make some suggestions. But my favorite thing is to bring in a stager because then I keep a real good relationship with my seller. It's the stager that comes in. He's the professional, and he gets it done.
Well, and you may have guys like me, though, who may want to sell a property, but I have design issues. For example, the stager comes in and says, the plastic fruit has to go. I may have put that up there thinking that would be just the thing. That's just the centerpiece that's going to sell my home, but he's going to set me straight on that. Is that right?
He's going to set you straight. He's going to set all of us straight. So a couple of things to remember. From the buyer's perspective, when you do find that property that checks all those boxes of your wants and your needs, make sure you go in strong, stick to your budget, don't go over, it's not a frenzy, but make a strong offer, and hopefully you'll get that acceptance from the seller. And if you're a seller, make sure you do your homework, get your property ready, make it look presentable, make it something that's welcoming that buyers really want to get inside of. That's why it's so important to use a great stager. And actually, I use the word stager because that's a technical term, but really they're designers.
Mm-hmm.
Designers.
And I think our guy actually has a background in design. He can tell us a little bit about that.
He does. In fact, let me just reiterate this because I know you've got questions and we've got answers for you. So grab your phone and dial 503-225-0860 and call in so you can ask Jeremy questions yourself.
All right. Should we bring in the man himself? I think it's about that time. We've been teasing him for quite a while. So who is this person and what exactly does he do? Heidi, you know him, so you bring him in.
Well, Jeremy Gilhausen, he is with OnStage Staging, and I've used him before, does a fantastic job, especially, they'll work with properties that are occupied, and they're going to help declutter and maybe just move some furniture, bring in some accessories. But I love to see the before and afters, especially when we've got a vacant property.
Okay, Jeremy, how does that all come together? What do? You walk into a property, a guy says, I want to sell this house. What's your first job? What do you start with?
Oh, gosh. I usually start with the sofa.
What do you mean by that?
He takes a nap.
Yeah, exactly.
Gets rested.
No, the first step is really just visiting the house and getting a sense of it, getting a sense of what it needs. And every house is special. Every house has something different. We see it all, and we've done it all.
Well, I bet. Tell us about your background a little bit. You do have a background in design, is that right?
I do. My early jobs were construction, mostly working with realtors, getting houses ready, doing painting and minor repairs. After that, I was a realtor for a brief time in Denver while I studied interior design. I was not a good realtor. It's everybody has their talent, and that is not mine.
Was it that focus on couches that kind of shot you down in the realty area?
No, it was the focus on couches that kept me in it.
Okay.
Well, before we get much farther, tell us, Jeremy, how would somebody get a hold of you if they want to check you out online, if they want to call in and find you later?
So our website is the easiest, www.onstage-online.com. They can also just call our office, 503-473-8255. 8838.
Right on. In fact, what I love about OnStage is they're a local company. And so kind of why Jeremy's here today, because I love working with local companies, and he's always come through for me. So tell us a little bit about what's been going on in the Portland market. What are you seeing as far as trends in staging and design?
The most common looks that we do are what we call the Northwest Contemporary, where it's kind of neutral, lighter colored furnishings with maybe chrome accents, some natural wood, a little bit of industrial touches as well. Kind of if you think of, kind of a Pottery Barn, West Elm kind of look, that's one of the most common. And then, of course, being Portland, it's the Portland eclectic look where we can throw in some, kooky accessories, some bright colors, maybe brighter colored large piece furniture.
Mm-hmm. I noticed the last property that we worked together on, that's exactly how it translated. It had an appeal to a very wide range of buyers. In fact, I got a lot of comments on it.
And that's the goal with staging, is we work with the agent to find out who the target demographic is, who's going to buy this house. Is it maybe an older couple downsizing? Is it a first-time buyer? And we really try to focus primarily on that, but not exclude the other potential buyers, because you really don't know who's going to buy the house.
Right. And, I remember talking with stagers in the past and reading up that there's really like 5 areas to address when you're looking at a property and you're preparing it for market. And we'll go over those when we come back.
We'll be back momentarily on Houses with Heidi, AM 860, KPAM.
It's important that you present your property in the very best way and that you have a broker who's working hard for you.
Every day's a dream in your dream home. It's Houses with Heidi.
Looking out for you when you buy or sell your home.
Houses with Heidi Turco. Turco Group Properties with M Realty. Now, Heidi's in the house.
And welcome back. It's Heidi Torko with Houses with Heidi. In the studio, we've got Jeremy Gilhausen. He is sharing his expertise on design and staging. He's with OnStage, local company here in Portland. And so we touched a little bit about being in a seller's market and how things are moving. But, tell us, Jeremy, how important really is the staging?
Staging is vital. As previously mentioned, most people start their search online. And when people are shopping for anything else, companies spend billions of dollars merchandising their product to get people to click that buy it now button. And really, that's what staging does for your home. Because when you put your home on the market, it becomes a product. It becomes something to merchandise and something to market. And, that's how we get you the best possible offers in the fastest possible time. Our average, the study that we did of the houses we had staged from December through June of this year, our average time on market was 14 days. So that's from listing date to accepted offer. And that's, you can't make that up.
Right. That's great. That's great numbers. I know that in working with sellers and buyers, the preparing the property and getting the property ready for market is really about the seller taking the emotion out of it and the buyer bringing the emotion to the buyer.
Absolutely. It's so important for sellers to basically divorce themselves from the house. We know you love your house. You bought your house. Obviously, you loved it at some point. You're moving on. And that's what it's time to do, is move on. Often when we'll go to a property where the homeowner is going to be living there while the home is for sale, and I tell them, you need to declutter. You need to pack some stuff up. And they'll get the deer in the headlights look. And they start to panic. And I say, no, it's okay. You're going to move soon.
Right.
Just start packing now. You'd pack up all the seasonal clothes. We're coming into fall. Maybe pack up the summer clothes because you're going to move.
Right. Yeah. I say the same thing. They're going to be packing anyway, so just get a jump on it and make that property more appealing to the bigger, wider, buyer's pool. So if you have questions for Jeremy, please dial in 503-225-0860. Now, I remember back in the day hearing something about 5 areas that homeowners, sellers need to be aware of when they are kind of stepping back and looking at their property through the eyes of a buyer. What are some of those areas?
Absolutely. The most important is the depersonalization. That involves family photos, religious artifacts, political items, anything that's a polarizing issue for people, that someone could just see that one item, react negatively to it, and then they have a negative association with that house. So it's just something in order to appeal to as many people as possible, you need to just take away the things that could be offensive to some.
Right.
And not necessarily even offensive, just something that maybe identifies this house as yours, something that it's no longer a house for sale. It's this person's house that I'm in.
Right. Well, and some of the things that I remember hearing were, of the 5, it was political, religion, pets, tobacco, alcohol, those type of things, we need to pull out of the home. Really, the home's not ours anymore. It's a property that's a commodity that we're trying to sell. We're trying to bring a new family in to make it their home. And if it expresses our personality and our beliefs, then sometimes that can hinder.
Absolutely. And one of the things I remind people is when people are looking at houses, they'll look at dozens and dozens of houses. And you want them to remember yours as that house with the great living room, the house with the great kitchen, not the house with the clown collection in the bedroom.
Ooh, scary. Scary. You just hit a nerve with me. I'm like, ooh. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And it's important that, like you said, the buyers can picture themselves in the home. I know there's sometimes when I'm meeting with sellers, and we all have our family pictures all over, but you've seen the properties where they've got the stairway, and from ceiling to floor, it is a solid collage of photos. And, most sellers don't really want to have to go through the process of even taking it down. They've got a lot of holes to patch up and all that.
Right.
It's so important.
But it absolutely is. It's just, and especially with those giant photo collages, it's just too much. It's clutter. It becomes clutter. Yeah. Same with, accessories like small little tchotchkes. Mm-hmm. It just becomes clutter.
Mm-hmm. Well, I know personally, I love babies. So if I walk into a home and I see a wall full of baby pictures, I'm stopping for a minute and I'm just looking at them all. So I use that when I'm talking to my sellers because that is a true story. Well, I know that there's a lot of